Welcome to Seton Hill Studios. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a professional yet affordable vocal booth that'll have every singer that comes over thinking they could sing like Adele.
Looking for a city where we'll never die.
So if you own a home studio, you know how it goes. So you're thinking to yourself, do I even need a vocal booth? Do I just put up a reflection filter? Or do I order a booth? Do I build a booth? What do I do? So, I started looking around at the reflection filters, something like this, and $200. I'm like, you can forget that. Then I started looking at some of the vocal booths, about $5,000 to $2,000 to $3,000. I said, enough's enough. I'm building my own, dang it. So now that we made the decision that we're going to build our own vocal booth, we still had a few challenges facing us. Number one, we're on a budget, a very, very low budget. Number two, we want it to look professional enough so when people come check out the studio, they actually want to stick around and record a little bit. So we did some research, gathered all the tools, and got to work. All right, first off, I'm going to put the links to everything you're going to need in the description. So swing on over there, check it out so you know exactly what to get. You're going to need 6x1s, you're going to need fabric, you're going to need safe and sound insulation, staples, and a couple other things. So you won't have to pick up a lot, but there is some stuff you will have to get. All right, now that you've got all the supplies, you should have got away with spending less than a couple $100 max. So you're going to cut this 6x1s to whatever dimensions you want the panels to be. They can be rectangular, they can be square, whatever fits your room, whatever size you want, you cut them that way. Now that you got them cut, take some screws, make sure all four sides are together, make sure everything's level, good to go. Take that safe and sound and start packing it in that frame. I usually take 2 things of the safe and sound. It's about 4 inches because I like it a little bit heavier, a little bit heftier to trap those bass frequencies as well. Pro tip! Like you saw in that last picture, what I like to do is take landscaping fabric. It's like $1 for like 100 yards. And I'll staple that insulation in. So the landscaping fabric, I'll flip it over, put the landscaping fabric on both sides. Therefore, that insulation's not getting out before I put the actual fabric on the frame. Now you got the frame built, the insulation in, the landscaping fabric on both sides, stapled into the frame. Obviously not into the insulation, it won't stay.
Wow.
Now you add the fabric. Pick any color you want to spice up your room. I chose black because I'm boring and lame. So when you're putting the fabric on the frame, make sure you pull tight as you're stapling in so it's a nice clean look. Now let's head on over to the live room. I took some video. Let's go over some more tips and tricks to make sure you got it looking good. All right, y'all. The first thing you will notice is that we have 1 panel on the wall and then 2 beside it. Now, the 2 beside it are on wheels, so we can move them around the studio at will. The one on the wall is attached, and I'll show you later how it's attached. And then we can bring in a 4th panel if we want to completely enclose the vocal booth, but we haven't found it necessary. I mean, it's so isolated in there, especially with those 4-inch thick panels. All right, let's go. Yeah, and this is just a little view. Here's another angle from it, same thing. So that's the panels. You see you got the wheels at the bottom, the gobo, so we can move them around. The 6x1 frames, the black fabric, and that's just a different angle. So, it's enclosed, and you can, the cool thing is, and I'll talk about this P16, but the cool thing is you can move them out or enclose them in, depending on how much reverb you want to attack. All right, this is the P16. It's a side note. Behringer, they're running with the M32, so that's how they control their ears when they're in the live room, their sound. You can pan stuff left and right. You see over his kick, snare, toms, overheads. They can control each instrument in the mix, so that's super helpful. It's not a necessity. We'll do a home studio tour later, but I just wanted to mention that because that is part of the vocal booth. Ceiling cloud, definitely helpful to have a ceiling cloud because, those sounds move up, they move out, reflections everywhere. So we try to cover all angles. That's super helpful. Just some more angles. Okay. This is the one on the wall that the mic's facing into. And how I mounted it was, these piping, like industrial piping, and then these zip ties. And it's held for literally 2 years now, I'd say. So it ain't going nowhere. I got kids that pull on it and everything else. So, okay, this is a wall through. So we have 2 XLRs run all the way to the live room. where we can run a vocal and an acoustic guitar. A lot of singer-songwriters, so they'll come out here and they'll record in this vocal booth.
Look at this. Somebody come look at this.
So they'll run through the walls. We also have Ethernet ran through the walls, which is helpful. But like I said, y'all don't have to do any of that. It's just a tip. You know, some of this is when we were designing the home studio, I was looking for stuff like this. I was like, man, how do they do this? What do they do? So y'all shoot it in the comments. Let me know. And I'll help y'all as much as I can, you know. And like I said, we're balling on a budget over here. So I'm trying to do things the most efficient.
Stop it. Get some help.
At the low cost possible. So that's, you know, the Cat 6 cables, the Ethernet cables that we get ran through. Those are the 2 mic cords, one for the vocal, one for its acoustic, strings, whatever. Here's me pushing the gobo very slowly. I'm just giving you an example that I can move it over to the drum set. What you can do is you can move it over the drums to basically, you see I got a bunch of panels on the wall to stop that reverb, because then we can control it once it's stopped. Okay, so what we got is I basically created a room over by the drums. You can tell. You can put 2 over there. You can build them any size you want to build them. You guys can build them. This is a pretty big panel. I think it's 6 foot by 6 foot, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm pretty short, so. But it, you know, it isolates the drums and really makes it a tighter drum sound. So we can do that as well. Once again, all those industrial pipes are hanging. Those other one. I try to leave. That's where my son broke my cymbal. Dang it! I try to leave everything as set up as possible. Over here, you'll see that there's a smaller one that we'll bring out in front of the drum sometimes, right in front of the kick. That helps a little bit. It depends on what sound you're going for. Here's the ceiling cloud. So this is mounted. I think I got a closer shot. Yeah. So I'm using those eye hooks to mount it, and they're into a stud. And then those zip ties, I got 2 of them. And those zip ties can hold up to like 50 pounds, sometimes 80 pounds per zip tie. So that's 160 pounds, and that eye hook ain't going nowhere if it's in the stud. So that's how I mounted that. So yeah, that's the end of the video clip. Yeah, I had to figure all this out on my own. Because there wasn't a lot of resources. So I really hope this is helpful to you all. Well, if you stuck around and made it to the end, I really appreciate it. And look, you got rewarded. Got to see me break a world record. How many times I could say in about a 4.5 minute period. Guys, I appreciate all the support. And seriously, if you have any comments, questions, need some feedback about the process of building a vocal booth, shoot them down in the comments and let's discuss it. As always, I'll see you on the next one.